I think there are three roles for educational institutions. One is at the sort of top-level research about science, and how can you find more about electrons and cathodes and anodes to make better batteries. That takes a lot of money to do. The second tier would be on-the-ground research institutions like Adaptation University, who could think, how do things actually get deployed? How do they get used in real life? They could track how well solutions work, how long batteries last, what people's real behavior are. And the third role for institutions is in training, in taking the research at the basic science level, the implementation on the ground level, and then teaching people at Adaptation University or University of Dar es Salaam or other places like that. So I see three tiers like that in sort of science origination, business model testing, and then education. So similarly for Ethiopians, there's largely the issue of how can you adapt things that are known in other places in the world, maybe in the West or in India or China, for the African solution to an African problem. So it doesn't really work to drop in something that was financed or created somewhere in the United States necessarily. But if you think about what people need here, for example, a little bit of information about crop prices, a little bit of information about distributors, a little bit of information about crop insurance. Those kind of technologies can lead to better living for people, and also from the green point of view, more efficient use of energy and less creation of waste that has to be thrown away and becomes a green problem. So I would be thinking not so much about admiring what happens somewhere in Copenhagen or in Shanghai as much as what happens on the ground here, or what happens in the Southern Territories or in Oromia, and how do people actually live and what will make a difference to them in terms of greenness around energy use, but also water and sanitation, and what kind of things can be done that creates a small business to help people live better in that way in Ethiopia. I think there are two major challenges. One is the obvious around cost. So if you talk about energy, people need energy. They need to cook. They need to be able to go to market. They need to get around. And whatever is the cheapest thing right on hand will be used. So there's plenty of people who cook with coal or charcoal and open fire. And it's hard to talk to them about greenhouse gas because they're trying to survive. The second is the difficulty in Africa of having large players exist across the continent. It's not a compact continent with one language like India or China or America. There's 54 countries, multiple languages, lots of currencies, so it's hard to get a big provider. It's a place where Ethiopia has an advantage from its location, from having so many hydro assets to be able to create and sell electricity all over, and from being proximate to so many countries, and even having a great airline to have the ability to export lots of things in the way that Ethiopia can use its geographical and existing advantages to promote a green economy that starts with the problems of the people on the ground and doesn't think about big fancy ideas that come from somewhere else.
World.